Hey traders, I want to do a quick video on a good trade setup that I saw in the market today. And it's an example of several variables coming together for Confluence. And you hear a lot of talk about Confluence and trade setups, but what does it really look like? What does Confluence actually consist of? Well, I'm going to go through a few factors today that I think of as a confluence of factors that make a good trade setup. So let's take a quick look at those factors. Okay. Here's the trade setup, by the way. And here are the confluence factors in the trade setup. So as you can see at around just before noon time today, we had a beautiful drop here in the S&P 500 from about 59.19 down to 58.89. So that was what a lot of points. That's about 30 points on the S&P 500, which is a huge move, a great move if you can catch that. Okay. So let's just go through these. The very first thing I'm looking at is the location of price. And in this case, the location of price started at this kind of line right here, this light kind of red line. And what is this light red line? This is the 5-minute 8 and 9 EMA cloud. Okay, 5-minute 8 and 9 EMA cloud. By the way, this cloud is the 15-minute 8-9 EMA, and this is the 30-minute 8-9 EMA. So as you can see, short is the way to go because the clouds are lined up. They're all downturning. They're all pointing down because that's the color, and they're all lined up, stacked on top of each other. So that the market is very strong to the downside. That's what that's telling you. So we'd be looking for shorts. So price has kind of like come along here, and it's kind of done a shallow pullback up to the line. So the second thing that I'm looking for is a double top pattern. Now, technically, this is a double top. Why? Because we have this top here, which matches perfectly this top here. So that makes that a double top. It doesn't really, look like one from the naked eye usually, but if you put if you put a line on it, you can see that it matched perfectly as a double top. So we've got location at a 5-minute level, prices at a 5-minute level. The pattern is a double top. You look to the left to confirm that. The indicator confirmation. I use one indicator on my charts. Basically, it's a MACD, and what I look for for an entry is a MACD cross. Now I'm going to kind of blow this up a little bit so you can see that the fast line has crossed under the slower line. So we like to see a MACD cross before we enter. Okay, and I like to see a price back test after the MACD cross. Okay, so in this case, we had a MACD cross here, and then price back tested the line. So that's what I look for. I look for price to hit the line, your MACD cross, and then a price back test. Okay, so what else do we have? Pattern. This one's much more subtle. Okay, but I'm gonna call it pattern subtlety. Now, an alternate what I mean by alternate is that the last setup we had was actually a setup off the 15 minutes. So the setups like to alternate between the levels. So if this one's a 15-minute, then it's likely that the next one will not be a 15-minute, that it will be a 5-minute. And as you can see, the next one again actually came up and went to be the 15-minute. Although that really wasn't a great one. And then we had back down to this one's kind of a back to the 15-minute. So it's like price needs to bounce around on the chart at different levels to do their setups. So if you've got a setup here that the most recent setup was a 15-minute setup, don't be surprised if the next setup is a 5. That's all I'm trying to say by alternating. It's pattern subtlety. Okay, it's an alternating between levels. Okay, and then another thing that I really like about this one is that it has a big target available to it. In this case, the pre-market low was the target, and it did go down to that target. Also, time. What time of day is it? Lots of moves start at 52 and a half after the hour. I don't know why that is, but it is. That is true. This one kind of touched in to the line right at 52 and a half after the hour. So that's another confirming factor that, okay, it's the right time on the clock, 52 and a half after the hour. A lot of patterns start setting up right about then. So that's a really good one. And then again, significance, again, it's a 5 minute level. Okay, not a 1 minute. I was trading 1 minutes a lot, and they don't really go as far. I mean, they work, but they don't really have the oomph. So it's a 5 minute, not a 1 minute. Okay. So those are the different confluence levels, and I think it's worth taking note of these different levels. I'll go through them one more time. Location, it's at a 5 minute. Price is at a 5 minute level. Pattern is technically a double top. You have a top here and a top here. Indicator confirmation, you do have the MACD cross, all right, indicating that the setup is beginning to happen. You have the MACD cross here, and then you have a price back test after the MACD cross. Um, we have pattern subtlety. We have an alternate level. Okay, the last level was 15. This level's a 5. Big target. We have a nice big target under us to go for. Time significance. The time that the thing set up was about 52 and a half after the hour. That's very significant. A lot of patterns set up at 52 and a half after the hour. Just something you notice after a while. And then significance. It's a 5 minute level. Okay, not a 1 minute level. So that's really about it. That's all I wanted to share with you. The trade did turn out to be a really good one. If we were kind of looking to trade this, we'd be looking to put a short on right around here. You know, the stop maybe up above. Okay, maybe an 8 point stop and a target down here. So that gave us almost a 3-to-1 on this trade. So that's a nice trade, and it's just something that when you have Confluence again, um, it's really a nice coming or flowing together of multiple factors and variables that set you up for a great trade. So try to have trade confluence, find out what your own personal setup confluences are, and then look for those things to come together. And you'll be, if you get good at this, you can spot them all coming together and kind of like see them happening in real time. You can say, okay, X, Y, Z, and A, B, and C are all coming together right now at the same time. This is going to make a good trade, and you'll just your muscle memory from seeing these things, these patterns emerge over and over again, will kick in, and you'll know that okay, this is something you don't want to miss out on. So it just helps you. You know, if you don't have that kind of confluence, you know you'll your tendency will be to want to skip it and just wait for one that does. So that's really all I want to say about that. Hope you have a great trading day and a great trading week, and I'll talk to you later.